So my father, in his final few months before he passed, the sentence was already that there's nothing much we can do about the fact that he's bedridden and his final days are here. And for those of you that are joining my channel, I've dropped a few videos in the past, last year and this year, about his battle with Parkinson's. At the age of 35 is when he got diagnosed. I think he had the onset symptoms at age 32, 33, and then he finally passed peacefully in his sleep at the age of 73. And this was back in 2018. So, it took me a lot of time and courage to actually tell this story. And it's on my channel as well. So you can just type in the words Parkinson's. It'll take you to a couple of videos, part 1, 2. And I try to scatter this topic throughout my videos because I grew up in a terminally ill parent home and also a very toxic mother. She's a crazy woman even till today. She's alive, well, and thriving. Very much a narcissist. And I don't want to get into that topic in this video. But I remember sitting in the hospital. The reason why I want to get into the topic on this video here, not for any other reason, is because that topic deserves a doctor, a psychologist, and a lot of experts for the discussion, and I'm not qualified to do that, at least not for this video right now. But I remember sitting in the hospital when the doctor had my brother, the family, the 5 of us really, 3 brothers, mom, the mother, my mother and father, right? And my dad was, he was out of his senses. Like he had declined. I think the last 6, 7, 8 months, the decline was just rapid, right? When you live with someone that's terminally going through that, it's not just them going through it. You are feeling every bit of it throughout the process as you age, right? And I was introduced to Parkinson's as a teenager, and my dad was my hero. And it is because of him, a lot of my core values I derive from him. And so during the time when he was diagnosed with that, we didn't even know what Parkinson's was, to be honest. All we knew was, hey, Michael J. Fox has it. Somebody famous has it. So now my father has it. So we weren't really looking at this with the spotlight that this is an incurable condition. It doesn't quite hit you like that because this condition grows with you over time. And by the time it's said and done, it leaves a big gaping hole in your psychology, your backstory. It takes over in every aspect of your life, including your relationships with your significant others. In my case, all my girlfriends felt the wrath of my upbringing. And of course, a very turmoiled relationship with my mother, right? She was just a very evil person. Now, I have to stage the story for you this way so you can pick up the juicy parts of this. And I'm trying to go somewhere with this is, when you fast forward all this mayhem, this storm, right? It came down to pulling the plug on my father because at a set date or such and such date, either we pull the plug or you kind of watch him wither away and he's going to pass. We don't know how, but he's going to pass in his sleep. And nature will take its course and feed him his favorite foods. And that will be the end of his life. And I remember speaking up with a knee-jerk kind of reaction because I've had enough. I've seen enough. I'm the oldest, so I've had some beautiful memories with my father. And that man there that's withering away, I think he's overstayed. I think deep down inside, as much as he has the will to live and want to live, he doesn't want to live. He most likely doesn't want to be here at this stage of his life. And he probably wanted to go. There's a lot of suffering if you know Parkinson's, right? Or any condition as such where you lose your motor functions and you can't go bathroom. And eventually he got the dysphagia, which is the condition to swallow, not the inability to swallow food. and so he couldn't eat anymore. So this is literally Parkinson's taking your life. Like, it worked from the outside in and then the inside out. So it had various stages, and my dad fought the entire battle all the way through until his last breath. And I was there to the morning of his last breath. In fact, the night before, I was hoping that he would pass in his sleep, but I was meant to see him the next day. I think we were so ready for him to leave that it was just a miracle how he left very peacefully, despite all the suffering, right? So when the doctor, 3, 4 months before he passed, when the doctor said, we can take him in and gradually just kind of monitor him, and this is the end. Like, we had the option to. I don't know quite the details because I was very foggy, but I think at a rough high level, it went something along the lines with, it can end today, it can end next week, it can end 2 weeks or so from now. But what you guys have the final wish. So my mother, being as stubborn and insisting as she was, she wanted to keep my father still at her home, at her apartment, and her final wish was to, have him pass on her terms. And this wasn't about her. This was about him. Granted that she's the wife and she had done most of the caretaking, but she had caused him a lot of stress throughout his entire life. And some of this could also be guilt. Some of this also could be her trying to repent and find herself. These are all possibilities, and I've seen it, right? She definitely, I can't take it away from her, but she definitely suffered in this chapter of her life. And if this were paying dues, then she's paying her dues. But we all lose in this case, right? Because it's my father suffering quite immensely, and when that sentence came of pulling the plug, I spoke up and I just said, well, if that's the final sentence and this is what we have come down to, then we can give it a little bit of time. But what choice do we have but to honor what the experts are saying? And I remember my dad came to life for a very split second, and his hand grabbed my bicep, my arm, and squeezed it. And this all happened in 2017-18, folks. I am not the same person that I was back then. I was alcoholic, I was reckless, still in my 40s, early 40s, and I wasn't able to think this analytically and pull apart small details and make sense of any given story of psychology as such. And I don't know why he grabbed my arm, but that was a sign of him crying out, like he couldn't talk anymore, right? That to me was a signal, as I decode all of this. Regardless of how I decode it, or how I want the story to end, it's not up to me. That's not how life works. But if I was to decode it, he had one last swing in him. And that was his way of saying, is this really the end? And so what are you going to do, right? What are you going to do? I have dealt with all these emotions my entire life. And I remember at that moment in time, I didn't feel anything. I just wanted him to leave. Like, the suffering was so bad, guys, that you start looking at your own life from a different lens and from a different perspective. And you start looking naturally you start looking at everyone else's lives who have never had to deal with this situation. In perspective, I can take the same health condition, right? And you can insert diabetes, you can insert, a handicap of sorts, a missing leg, missing arm, blind in one eye. Like, as horrible as it sounds, we all wished there was something else. But the sentence was Parkinson's. And you walk through that entire lifespan And I've even still until today, I can't believe this happened to my family, and it really tore us apart. And it didn't really it brought us together in bits and pieces. It was very painful, and all of us deal with this story differently. I said earlier that I'm the oldest child, and I'm at the age of 49 now. I'm 50 in a few months. If you're just joining the channel, but it's kind of the story is told different ways by different people. This is my version of it, and how quickly that pull the plug, turn off the switch. You know, your life just came down to the plug, right? The reason why I'm talking out loud and sharing more of the Parkinson's journey is because it's directly correlated to how short life is, right? Here are some of us. We have everything going for us, still we complain, right? We have enough food on the table. You know, our healths are declining. Obesity is at it's at an all-time high, ever seen before. I've never seen this epidemic, pandemic, right? We have the beautiful opportunity to wake up every single day and use two of our hands, right? Both our hands, and this, while it works and functions, to change our lives for the better, to become the best versions of ourselves. But many of us are resigned to our bad habits and to the comfort foods and doing what we know and what's easy. Shortcuts, right? My father didn't take any shortcuts. By the age of 33, 34, he had built a mansion of a house from the ground up. I mean, finding the land, hiring an architectural team, the designing of the home, and we had a 5-bedroom, two-story home back home in the Fiji Islands. And the bottom we rented out to tenants basically. So he was breaking in the rental income from that unit downstairs, while we lived like, a higher quality of life, like Prince so and so of that street. So I wouldn't say that a lot of this stuff was given to us easy. He made it look easy by putting in the work. And now I know why he had this grimace on his face back in the day, of the stress of carrying it for the family. Because it all started and ended with him. I am his seed. He went out and did the hunting. He found the crazy wife, the hot wife, right? And I was born, and then my brothers were born. This is how my story is. It's crazy, man. This took me way back in time, but I just wanted to. It was there in my system. I could have stayed home and talked about this. Of life comes down to those final few moments of how you want to be remembered, right? We don't know what the end looks like for us. We don't know what the end of the road looks like for us. But wouldn't you like to be the best version of yourself before you make it out of here? Wouldn't you? Are you okay with being average? Are you okay with not being okay? Being mediocre? What would you do if your health was compromised? Everything we're stressing about today, right? To wake up early, to go into the office because I have to show my face in the office. Some of us have a 9 to 5. Regular paychecks are coming in, food on the table. We have water, fresh drinking water. We're able to walk every single day like this. But are we doing those things? Do we really stay in the present moment, right? Because when the time comes, like I said, we don't know what that chapter looks like or what that phase of our life looks like. But you're never ready for it. Well, why not live a higher quality of life. And that's the vow I took to land the plane on this topic. That's the vow I took, is my ending and my beginning of this journey. There's never really an end to this path, because you're always going to be up against the fight of life. You're always going to be fighting this uphill battle. Either you find the joy in it, okay, and go toward the storm, or you run away from it and it chases you for the rest of your life. This is what I've learned. This is what you're only as connected to those experiences, the plug, right? Provided you're putting in the work. That connectivity is a two-way street. Because once you stop putting in the work, that lifeline, that plug, the odds are it will be pulled and your lights out just like that. At least this self-improvement path puts you on this lifespan, right? You increase the odds of your quality of life and managing various conditions, especially everything to do with your brain health, right? Outside of Parkinson's, right? These other Alzheimer's, right? There's all kinds of. But once your brain goes, guys, that's it. Pretty heavy. It's a great time to end this one. And until the next video, I'm out.